Good morning and welcome in. Friday morning. No idea what the date is. Friday the 22nd of May. That's another month chugging on by. Nearly gone. Welcome to this morning's live. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK, and at 9 o'clock in the morning or thereabouts I come on live and we do a little bit of crafting, and we do sort of a whole variety of different things. And this week we've been doing a little bit of combination of mainly some new stuff with some old stuff. I don't think we had any new stuff yesterday, but some of the things, new stuff, we've got a new catalogue that's due to launch on the 3rd of June. Anybody that's expecting one from me, they are now out and on their way to you somewhere if you've requested one, or whether if you are a customer that I on my list. So they are out and they're on their way, and if I haven't hand delivered them, then it's down to Mr. Postman now, and I'm sure he'll get them to you as quick as he can. But that goes live on the 3rd of June. So once you get your catalogue and you start browsing for it, you can't order anything until the 3rd of June anyway. And we're going to have a big all-day launch fiesta going on with lots of demonstrations and things going on the 3rd of June. So that's something to look forward to and something to plan for. So some new things are coming out of that new catalogue we've been playing with, and combining those with some of the things that are carrying over, that are current, that you can get at the moment, but are going to be carrying over to the new catalogue. I thought today we'd get a bit inky and a bit messy. I've got my tea, I've had my breakfast, we're all set up, ready to go. Not quite so hot today, it's a bit sort of breezy and overcast, but that's okay. So I thought what we would do today is, as I say, we'd get a little bit inky. Let me just... I have these cute little plastic trays that have been around like forever. They're not looking their most beautiful, got little glue marks and sorts of things on, but I'm going to take a Babywipe. I've already got some ink on my fingers. And I thought we'd have a bit of a play with the Babywipe technique this morning. Not done that in a little while, and I saw something yesterday, day before, and I thought, oh, Babywipe technique. Not done that in a while. Let's play with that. So, I'm sure many of you would have done the Babywipe technique before. If you haven't, in front of me I've got a whole load of our ink refills. I haven't decided quite which colours I'm going to use yet. And I've got a Babywipe that I've folded, and I've actually folded that into 4. That's, it's folded as much as you want to, really. And I'm going to use initially, I think, some of the leaves out of the Rooted in Nature set. But I don't want these to be autumnal colours, because sometimes you can do this in really nice effects with autumnal colours. I want them to be sort of a bit more summer leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Granny Apple Green. Let's pop some of that on there. I realised again I've not got any of my comments coming up. Who have we got? Morning Emma, Beryl, Lisa, Charlotte. Hi gang. So Granny Apple Green. Let's have some crushed curry blobbing on there. I'm going to go Old Olive. And then I'm quite tempted, I don't know quite what it will come out like. Let's go mad and put in a bit of Bermuda Bay. So I've just put a little spot of those 4 colours onto that Babywipe. And now what we're going to use is we're going to use that Babywipe as our ink pad, if you like. So let's have a little look. Let's bring in some of these leaves. Now this is obviously something that you could do with some of the new sets, particularly that one that's the Forever Ferns. That would be quite fun to do this with. I thought we'd use one of the sets. that's carrying over. So let's bring in some of those. And let's bring in a piece of shimmery white cardstock, and I'm going to cut this down because I'll go 9.5 by 13.9. Going to use that as our card base. Now then, what colour shall we come in first? I'm going to take, I think, this solidish leaf first, and I'm going to, and with the Babywipe technique you do find that as you use it, it does develop. So can you see how we've instantly got beautiful multicoloured ink, multicoloured leaves on there, and obviously every time you stamp it you're going to get something a bit different, and depending on which part of the ink you concentrate most will depend what colours appear. This is a pretty leaf, isn't it? I'm going to this time sort of concentrate a bit more in that yellow and Bermuda Bay area. And as you sort of stamp on this, the colours do start to blend together. It's really pretty, isn't it? I'm very glad I put that Bermuda Bay in there now. So you can sort of put these blots in different parts of your Babywipe to keep them far more separate if you want to. And you can imagine if you did this with, you know, perhaps an orange and a green, perhaps a touch of red, that these leaves would very suddenly become very autumnal. But I didn't want them to be autumnal. I wanted them to be far more summer-like. I'm going to see if I can squeeze one more of these in there. Beautiful. Let's have one coming in there. Let's come back to our original one. And have a bit of that in there. And a little bit just there. So that's really pretty. Those really pretty colours. Morning, Rosemary. Now what you can do with these, if you put this into a sealed box, as long as you're keeping it moist, that ink pad will carry on going for a little bit. It won't necessarily, it won't, you know, instantly, you don't have to instantly throw it away. You can keep it going for a little while if you want to and come back to it. Obviously you can make up a whole bunch of cards sort of while you're at it, do a whole big background. I'm just rustling through, rustling through my oddments of cards to see. I think we want some Bermuda Bay mat on there. I got one. I got a piece that's that size? I think that's too narrow, isn't it? Yep. If not, we will go and get a sheet. That's absolutely fine. I just wanted to make use of my oddments if we can. Right, so let's cut a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock. And we'll make that 14.4 by 10. Lovely. Now we have got dies for these. I'm tempted to do one to do as a actually I might do one of each leaf. So let's find an oddment of shimmery white. Hopefully that will be big enough. Morning, Denise. So let's bring in our shimmery white. Let's bring back in our leaf stamps. So we'll start with this one here. That's this long leaf. I haven't got that die out. That's that one. And then we'll have this little leaf here, which is mainly yellow and Bermuda Bay. Beautiful. The colour is starting to fade on that slightly. And then we'll have one of the little skeleton leaves. And we'll die cut those. Apologies if I'm wobbling you. Let's just give that a bit of a clean up so I don't transfer that ink onto everything. And we all know I'm likely to. So skeleton leaf, this leaf and that leaf. I'm sure that's not technical terms, this leaf and that leaf. Just line these up. It's always worth, when you order an ink pad, ordering the ink refills to go with it, not just because they mean that your ink pad will keep on giving. You just need to re-ink it. Don't need to replace the ink pad unless it's really worn out. But also because of all the techniques that you can do with these inks. You can use them to colour other mediums. If you want to do some sort of home decor piece and you want to add some colour to some white acrylic paint, you can do. I've done that before. All sorts of things that you can colour using ink refills. Right, what shall we have as a sentiment on that I'm going to have thinking of you, I think. That fit on there? Not quite. Let's find a slightly bigger block. A bigger block. Bring back in our Babywipe, and we're only going to need to press that all over to make sure that's all inked up. Beautiful. Hi Glenda. Let's have a look at our dies, our label dies. Which one shall we go for? Actually, I think what I'll do, let's find our rectangle stitch dies. Have we got it's not going to sit inside of there, is it? Let's cut it out and have a think. I quite like the shape of that. I like that scalloped edge on that rectangle. And it does just sit quite nicely in there. It does feel as if it wants a little bit of a background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same die and I'm going to cut it out of the centre of our Bermuda Bay mat, just because why waste card when you can't see it. And then this little greeting here, I'll take my trimmer and I am literally going to trim it just on the inside of the stitching. And then we get a rectangle that sits inside that stitching, because I think the next size up is too big. We don't want to go as big as that. And we've got these little leaves here that we're going to be able to add on the top. Might even have them peeping out underneath there. That's rather fun, isn't it? We just need a white card base. Let's grab some thick Whisper White and cut that. .9, score at 10.5. Beautiful. And I think we'll do a big bow of actually, undo that. I'm going to do a big double bow. Just sit behind there, and then we'll have some nice linen thread, wispy bits as well. We'll trim those down as and when we want them. Right, okay, let's stick this baby together. So, Babywipe technique, that was Bermuda Bay, Granny Apple Green, crushed curry and old olive. A blob of each onto our Babywipe to create our ink pad. Is that going to come out? That one will. So we'll add that to our Bermuda Bay background. And I'm really pleased with that because I wanted it, I said right at the beginning, I didn't want them to be autumn leaves. I wanted them to be sort of summery, late spring summer leaves, which is where we are now, sort of the much brighter colours. If we were going to do autumn leaves, we'd have done oranges and reds, possibly slightly darker greens, maybe. Looks like a spider, doesn't it, sitting on there? But we wanted them to be a bit more summery than that. Great for men's cards, particularly if you've got guys in your life that don't do barbecues and beer and sports. I have one of those in my life. He doesn't do any of those things. I'm going to lay that gently on there because I do want to have these leaves sticking out of here. So I'm just going to add them in before I give it a final press down. Yep. We'll give that a press down where that glue is. Let's put a little spot under there. And a little spot under there, just to make sure that they're attached nicely. And then I think we'll put some dimensionals on the back of here. Hi, Karen. So yeah, so if you've got sort of leaves that are sort of more autumny, then you might want to do a similar thing, but completely change out the inks that you use. But as we're sort of just late spring, starting to tip into ideas of summer, we're all very much green and lush and beautiful. To trim these ends off a little bit. There, it's rather fun, isn't it? Really pleased with that colour combination. It's worked really well. So there's one Babywipe technique using the leaves from the Rooted in Nature. So that's one that's carrying over. Really useful stamp set to have if you haven't got it in your collection. And you don't just have to tuck it away and only use it during the autumn. Get it out and use it whenever, all times of the year. Great for Christmas. You can add in some frost on your trees in the winter. You can add in some blossom in the spring. So it really is a stamp set that takes you all year round. And of course, having the dies that go with it makes it even more versatile. And this is one of the set that's got the dies that you can do the embossing on these leaves as well, particularly with the skeleton leaves. That's really pretty. You can do that in vellum. That's really lovely. So you've got your dies that will cut out your leaves, but then you've also got these 3 dies that will emboss into your leaves, and you've got your trees there as well. So a great set. In fact, there they are, look. That's your stamped and die cut trees and leaves, and these ones are the embossed ones. Should really do that with all of my sets. It's finding the time to sit down and do that. Need an assistant. But all my lovely girls, my daughters and daughter-in-law to be, that would normally dip in and help me with all those sorts of things, of course, are not allowed in the house. I keep saying they're at home bored. I've got 101 jobs they could be doing, but not able to share them at the moment. Never mind, the time will come. So let's just pop these leaves back in here. That's the skeleton ones, and this long one just here. So this stamp set is so big, they named it twice. You do get 2 cases, and both cases are heaving. You get 16 stamps altogether, including those really big trees and things, and some wonderful big greetings. It is, if it's not one that you've got on your list, don't let that one get lost, because it's not a new one. It's a great stamp set. Right, card number 1. Now what I thought we'd do with our second card, we're going to see, this is going to be a let's see what happens type card. And we will see what happens in just a minute when I can find the cardstock I'm looking for. Where has that gone? I had a whole half piece of shimmery white cardstock just here, just now. I've got a half piece of Whisper White. Aha! It's sitting on a white box, an upside down white box, and is blending into the background so that I couldn't see it. I did think that was very odd. Right, so this is another piece of shimmery white cardstock I'm just trimming down. with this one, what I thought we would do is we would take our Babywipe and our ink, and this is where, who knows what's going to happen. Hold on to your hats. Let's have a look. I'm going to use it to smoosh down my card. Could just do with a bit of that. Oh yes, that blue coming through. Fab. Look at that. Wow. So that's using that exact same Babywipe, and we've just smooshed down our card. I'm just going to wipe my fingers because they're very inky. They're going to remain very inky, but that's okay as long as the ink isn't coming off. I never mind being inky. Right, I'm going to give that a bit of a dry. I'm going to cut it down a little bit more as well. I should have taken it a bit further to the end, but we didn't. So let's just trim. That's better. That's looking far more even now, isn't it? Right, what I thought I would do is we'd go back and have a play with this ornate style stamp set. Morning, Molly. I'm going to stamp that onto another piece of shimmery white cardstock. Might stick with our Bermuda Bay background actually. I quite like that Bermuda Bay popping on there. And I'm going to heat emboss this, just deciding which colour to go with. I think I'm going to go white actually, because of the white we've got sort of sitting in the stripes. We'll make it a feature. So let's ink this up with our Versamark. Have dog hairs on there. Did he manage to get there? He's sitting in the garden. I thought I'd lost him this morning. My dog, if you don't know, is a real old boy. He's about 14 now. Had a diagnosis of cancer back in November, so he's slowing up. And I came downstairs this morning and I couldn't find him. Where on earth has he gone? And he's gone down to the bottom of the garden and he's sitting in some long grass, and every now and then I just see him peeping out at me. It's obviously a nice shady spot he's found for himself. He did that last summer as well. He liked that little spot. Then every time I hear the dogs down the road and whimpering or howling, because those are husky types, so obviously huskies do tend to be very vocal, I'm thinking, oh, it's not a dog, is it? He's not hurt himself. He may be 14, but he's my baby. Right. Morning, Janice. hope you are all well. So, can't see that very well. But let's emboss that. Morning, Angie. Or evening for you. Sun's coming out here now. So this is exciting watching, I know. I'm heat embossing white flowers on shimmery white background. Right, now we want to add some colour to our flowers. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to take my paintbrush, my aqua painter. Let me just get some water flowing through it. I wonder if it will let me pick it up from here. Let's see how strong a colour that is. It might not be strong enough colour. No, I don't think it is. So I think what we'll do is we'll take our same 4 colours. I'm going to put a little blob of Bermuda Bay. What other colours did we use? Crushed curry, granny apple green, and old olive were the colours that we used. Might as well use this same tray. Right. Now we can pick up some blue. So these aren't going to be very authentic colour flowers, but it's going to go nicely with our background. So a bit of Bermuda Bay. And as you can see, where I've embossed that now, our paint is just filling in the gaps. Just adding in some colour to that embossed outline. Just checking my image on my stamp just to make sure that I'm picking all of these up. And then there's these ones just here. Now with the water, we've added more water naturally out of our aqua painter. Those have got paler, so it may be that you'd want to go in with some more ink. Okay, there's our Bermuda Bay. Let's pick up some crushed curry. Let's do these sort of daisy-like flowers here. And crushed curry. I've got one there. And one here. Add in a little bit of old olive in the middle there, just to give it a bit of a hint of some sort of colour where the raised bits where it sits back. And then we've got our two big flowers now. The other colour we've got here is Granny Apple Green. So we'll add Granny Apple Green into these ones. And it is just really filling in that, morning Hilary, filling in that embossed background. I'll catch you up on what we've been doing in a minute, Angie. And then, oh, where's my squidgy? I think I've missed a little tiny bit of blue just there. Let's just drag that colour out a bit and add a bit of blue in there, and then we'll come back in with our old olive on these leaves. Ooh, wrong colour. So this ornate style stamp set, so these flowers, is the set, or the suite, that was an early release suite. So you can actually, although it is in the new catalogue, you can get it already. Now I'm going to come in with a bit more Granny Apple Green on that flower just there in a minute, just so that it stands out a bit more from those leaves in the background. And what we could also do is pick up some of that yellow and just add, I might actually do myself another little spot of yellow with the crushed curry, and we'll add some little spots of yellow on the edges here. Just to give the ends of those petals a bit of a touch of a different colour. Right. It's looking a bit green now, but okay. What we have got here is some stalks, some stems on this flower, so I'll just come down and add in a bit of colour so it goes either side of those stalks. That's quite pretty. Let's just give that a bit of a, morning Wendy, we'll give that a bit of a burst. Then what I'm going to do, I'm not sure where my paper snips have gone. They were here earlier. Have to be my very ancient scissors that I've had for years and years and years, and really have quite seen better days. But you're just going to fussy cut around the edge of our flower. So this particular suite had the most beautiful dies with it. So there's the ornate frames, and then there's the floral borders, and then you get the stamp sets, the ornate thanks with all the thanks greetings on, and we might pick one of those up in a minute to go with this. So let's just come round the edge. Nearly there. A couple of spots on leaves where we've not quite gone to the end. That's it. Okay. Let me check the sizing on this. And let's have a look at those ornate thanks. And I think what we'll do with that is we'll just get a little bit of Mise Bay card. Is that wide enough? Yes. And let's do this in white embossing as well, because that will then pop quite nicely on there. Oh, dropped it on the floor. No wonder I can't find it. Oh, that's nice and grubby now. Picked up everything going. Let's add some white embossing powder onto that. And I think we'll add in some white twine, not, as Karen thought I said yesterday, white wine. A little bit early in the morning, I think. Put the lid on that so we don't drop it. Let's just even this up a little bit. It's a little bit on the wonky side. So let's have use the edge of our guillotine as a guide to line up those letters. Wasn't a brilliant guide because that's very wonky. Oh, but then it's a well-known fact that I'm hopeless lining things up on a trimmer. Right, there we go. And I would add some white twine if I could find my white twine. It's obviously round and about somewhere. I've got a very narrow one here. That's incredibly narrow though. I think that's far too narrow. Oh, I don't know where that went. We had it yesterday, didn't we? So it's obviously got tucked somewhere. So let's have a think about ribbon instead then. We have got some of the nice white crinkle seam binding. Ooh, we've got some old olive, the old olive ribbon that goes with that that suite. Let's have a look. Yeah, that might be quite good. Let's add that in instead. Okay, let's stick this one together then. So I'm going to stick this card, a background, a smooshed background, to that piece of Bermuda Bay card. I'm going to stick our embossed and watercoloured flowers directly onto there. Let's give that a good press down. We'll then wrap some of this ribbon round here. Morning, Wendy. Hope everybody is well. Tear and tape. And we'll add some dimensionals behind that one. Oh, let me add in a bit of a and then I think I have got a Bermuda Bay stamping white marker, And I'm going to take lots of oddments of shiny things. There we go. Let's take some rhinestones and let's just colour them with our Bermuda Bay. This is the dark Bermuda Bay. Stamping white marker. We'll add those in round and about. Let's just fold up this other piece, half of the Whisper White card base that we started with. Stick that onto our card base. Oh, very good, pressed down. So, created a couple of different cards. We started off with one folded up Babywipe. Look at the state of this mat now. We started off with one folded up Babywipe onto which we put a spot of Granny Apple Green, Old Olive, Crushed Curry and Bermuda Bay re-inkers. We then used that as our stamping pad to stamp our leaves, to create our Babywipe technique there. So we've stamped lots of different leaves in the background, die cut a few leaves out, used that same ink pad for our greeting. So deliberately gone sort of summertime leaf colour rather than autumn leaf colour. And then we took that same pad and we used it to swoosh down our piece of cardstock to get our striped effect, which is rather lovely. We did do a bit of folding and sort of direct and deliberately added in a bit more Bermuda Bay. So that's that background just there. So we've used those same colours then, little spots of ink to watercolour our white heat embossed flowers from the Ornate style stamp set with a greeting from the Ornate thanks. So this of course is a stamp set, a bundle that you can get as an early release, so you're able to get all of these, although it's new things. They did an early release on it, so you can get it now. So that you can get now, and the other stamp set, my brain. Oh dear, do you know, today is the day I have got to tidy up. Rooted in Nature was the other stamp set that is to hand somewhere, and that is just a classic that you just need to have. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope that's got you heading for your re-inkers and your Babywipes, and to have great fun creating multi-tonal stamping and swooshy backgrounds to your heart's content. And obviously you'll end up with beautifully inky fingers. Always the sign of an hour well spent. So enjoy, and I will be back. We are Friday, aren't we? I will be back. It is Bank Holiday Monday here on Monday. I will no doubt be here. It may be a bit later. I might do a lie-in, but I will warn you if I'm planning on a lazy start to the day. But as far as I know, we're not going anywhere. Nobody's going anywhere, aren't we? It's actually our wedding anniversary on Sunday, and I did say to my husband, bank holiday weekend, we could make a long weekend of it. So we're going to have a long weekend at home rather than a standard weekend at home. But yes, I shall be back, unless he decides, you know, that he's going to whisk me off somewhere exotic on lockdown. I shall be back on Monday morning. Okay, have a lovely weekend, everybody.